Hello students, welcome to today's lesson on how are disease-causing microorganisms transmitted from reservoirs of infection to recipient healthy host organisms. In this lesson, we are going to talk about reservoirs of infection and the main routes of disease transmission. Let us start on reservoirs of infection. Reservoirs of infection is any person, animal, plant, soil, or any matter in general in which an infectious agent normally lives and multiplies. These reservoirs of infection harbors infectious agent without showing any symptoms of disease. Reservoirs of infection include human beings. Human being is reservoir to viruses that cause common cold and bacteria that cause diphtheria. Animal vectors like chickens, reservoir to salmonella infections, and mosquito reservoir to malaria. Soil also reservoir to bacteria that cause tetanus. Water reservoir to bacteria that cause Legionnaire's disease and protozoa that cause amoeba. Reservoir for bacteria that cause cholera. Foods reservoir to bacteria that cause typhoid fever. Contaminated objects that are always reservoir to viruses that cause HIV/AIDS, and reservoir to bacteria that cause trachoma. Air, it can be reservoir to bacteria that cause pneumonia and tuberculosis. What are the main routes of disease transmission? There are 7 types of routes to disease transmission. These 7 routes of disease transmission are: the first one, droplet infection. Droplet infection is route for airborne disease that passes from infected host to healthy host, from reservoir to healthy host. Diseases that mostly their causative agents passes through droplet infection are common cold, pneumonia, and TB. The second routes of disease transmission is drinking contaminated water. This drinking contaminated water is the mechanism in which waterborne disease passes to healthy host. Causative agents for cholera and typhoid fever mostly passes through this route, drinking contaminated water. The third routes of transmission is eating contaminated food. This is the way that foodborne diseases pass to healthy hosts like salmonella typhi, typhoid fever, listeriosis, and botulism mostly gets transmitted through this route. The fourth one, direct contact. This direct contact is the route in which pathogens spread by direct contact with infected person. This route mostly used by germs that infect skin or cutaneous disease like athlete's foot, ringworm, and trachoma. Sexual intercourse. This route is the way in which organisms infecting sex organs can be passed from one sexual partner to another sexual partner during sexual intercourse. These routes are mostly used by sexually transmitted disease, STD. They can be candidiasis, syphilis, AIDS, and gonorrhea. The sixth one, blood-to-blood contact. This is the route in which pathogens pass from infected person to healthy person through unscreened blood. Pathogens of disease that pass through this route are HIV/AIDS and hepatitis B. The seventh one is animal vectors. Animal vectors are another route in which many diseases are spread through bites of insects. Pathogens to vector-borne disease are mainly passed through this route, like malaria and sleeping sickness.